Hi, Katie.
Hey!
Hey, how are you?
Good! Yay!
Hey, it's working.
Yes. Okay, awesome. Um, okay. Are we, is this live? Are we broadcasting?
Yeah, I think we're broadcasting. So,
Okay. Did,
I
did
assume
we want to share it all, or do we just want to record it and go from there, or what did you?
yeah, we can share it. We can make it open. So,
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that. Do we just click
Oh, there is, there was an option when you created it, to show the share buttons or not.
oh, let's see. Let me look on the sides. Screen share, showcase, Q&A. Hmm.
Or you could always just copy and I think there's a link you could.
From the top, you think?
I think in the settings of Webinar Jam, it should say like a universal link or something like that.
Okay. Let me go check it out. Let's see. Maybe there's people. Um,
Hi, this is Michael Same.
And
I'm
you
sur-
love that.
I know. I'm surprised it worked.
Yeah, yeah, me too. Maybe I don't know.
Hmm. All right. Get your links. Let's see. Oh, okay. So I guess they would have to re-register though, right?
Right. Well, there's a link that you can do. It says like you're not going to be able to track anyone or anything like that, but we can post that, and if you post it like on Facebook or something like that, and if you want, I can always do a quick email to the people who registered,
Okay.
and just say, hey, we're over at so and so.
Okay. Here's the live link. I'm just emailing it to you.
Okay.
Okay. All right. And then I can put on Facebook if anyone's, you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Okay. So.
Okay. Okay. Gotta like. Is it really dark on my end? It's really dark, isn't it?
Hang on one sec. I haven't seen it yet. Well, I have seen it, but it looked okay when I was over there. All right, so I'm going to send the email out.
All right.
And I said we're live now. We've had some difficulties, but if you still want to join us, just click this link, and we'll send you a recording too. And then hopefully I can download, because this goes on your YouTube, but I think you can download off of YouTube, right?
Yeah, I think so. I can send it to you.
Okay. Um, the other thing is, do you see it switching back and forth when we're talking?
Yeah, that's from who's talking, right?
You do see that?
Uh-huh.
Okay, because mine it sticks like whichever one I click. So I either click on you or click on me, and that's who we see. So I just wanted to make sure it is going back and forth. Is that how it's working? Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was like voice activated. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I've never been on this side of it, so but because it's not changing for me, and so I didn't know if that was just on my end or something.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, no, it's switching. It's switching.
okay, cool. So that works then for because I've had it stick to one person, and as long as it's on you, that's the goal here. I don't want it to be on me the whole time. So okay, let's. Um, I don't know, did you want to give it a couple minutes, or did you want to just jump in since I just sent the email?
Yeah, we can jump in. Hold on, let me just send
Okay.
this.
I feel like I'm going to be totally thrown off.
I know. That's okay. We'll just start fresh. We'll take a deep breath. And
Yeah.
Send a link. I'm just sending my husband a link.
Okay. It's funny. I always do like a test join at like noon, and then I do one like an hour before. And this is the only one that I was just like, oh, like I've got this thing down. Like we're just gonna jump right on. And then I'm like, oh wait, no.
Yeah, that's always how it is.
Right. Now I know.
Yeah.
Now I know for the future. All right. Let me look at one thing.
So am I super pixelated because of the lighting, or is it okay?
So you do look a little pixelated, but what I found, it's odd. So, and this may not be the case, but I found with a lot of the other people that like the other person is always pixelated, but it comes out really clear on YouTube. So the recording is clear.
Okay, that's good.
So.
Okay. So anytime you want to start officially, we can, like, yes.
Okay. Oh, are you still there? You just wrote that.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm here.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Okay, so let's breathe. A big breath. Okay. And now we're resuming. It's not that bad. We're only 23 minutes late. You know, that's really not that bad at all. I'm glad it's working. Okay. So this is Motherhood Simplified, and I am your host, Katie O'Brien, and a life coach for moms. And this series has been interviewing women across the country with one sole mission, just to prove that balance is possible regardless of your circumstances. So within interviewing these women, I am not showing you so much of how they have achieved this amazing balance, but I'm trying to show you the many possible ways that these women have achieved it and how you at home can too. So tonight I am really excited to sit down and jump in and interview someone that I have really connected with, or more so connected with this year, and she continues to inspire me. She is not only a mother of four, that's correct, 4 children, but she runs a digital marketing consulting business, Connect Authentically. She operates a home-based daycare. She writes regularly for her successful blog, Tiny Steps Mommy, as well as a regular contributor to Huffington Post. So without further ado, I am really excited to sit down and jump in with Nicole Dash this evening. So hi, Nicole. Welcome.
Hi, Katie. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm excited to chat a little bit about this, something I'm really passionate about, which is motherhood and, of course, the all-elusive finding balance.
Yeah,
I'll do my best.
Right, and I was so excited that you were willing to be here and sit down with us, because as everyone just heard, you know, me sitting down with you saying all of these things that you do, you know, you have definitely got a lot on your plate. And might I add, you know, I think you just took an amazing vacation with your husband too, so it sounds like you're really nurturing that relationship there too, as well as yourself. So before we kind of jump in to learn how and why, I do want to learn a little bit more about you, kind of maybe a little bit about your family, about your passion. You said, you know, motherhood and kind of balance and everything. So tell me just a little, like, let us kind of get to know you a little bit here. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, you know, I got introduced to motherhood fairly early. I had my first son fairly young. Most of my friends were not anywhere near motherhood when I became a mother. But I took that role seriously because it was something I always knew I wanted to do. I just looked at it as, you know, I was just doing it a little earlier than I had originally planned. And so for me, my son sort of was my priority from day one. And everything I've ever done since then has been about my children and about, making my life work for them and with them, if that makes sense. So, after my second son was born, I knew for me that I wanted to be able to still make an income but work full time and bring home an income, but I didn't want to leave the house. So I started my home-based daycare. That was back in 2006. And for me, it was a wonderful, wonderful decision because I was able to combine my passion for nurturing and children and my children, and discovered that I loved seeing other children grow and develop. And I very quickly had my daughter, my third child, and but I was starting to feel a little overwhelmed. And I was starting to feel like, well, maybe it's too much being around only kids all the time, no adult interaction. So I said, I'm gonna give my career one more chance. My background was in communications, public relations, journalism, and I went to an office, a corporate job. I think I cried every single morning on the commute there, and just realized that it wasn't what I wanted, and that the grass was not greener like I thought. So I gave it a year, and I went back to my daycare. I opened my daycare again, except this time I got help. I didn't try and do it all by myself. I hired someone to be my assistant, and took on a few extra kids. But for me, I was making it. It was working for me much better. I was happier. I was much more engaged. I was feeling more fulfilled. And I had my fourth child while I had my daycare. And again, that little voice in your head that's like, I need a little more engagement, a little more interaction, started buzzing. And so I started writing a blog, Tiny Steps Mommy. And I really started writing it for myself. The blog was an outlet. It was my passion. And little did I know that I would connect with so many other mothers and so many other women, and just do what I've been doing naturally behind the scenes, which is connecting with new mothers and communicating with them, but connecting with them in a way that I had never before, and that was through my words, through my heart that I was sharing on the page, on the screen. And I grew a community. And it's just weird, the journey that we all go through. What started off as a way to stay home with my kids, and then jumped from a way to kind of communicate, share my heart and write again, grew into a community. And then from there started a digital marketing business that it just sort of came out of, I wasn't planning on starting a second business. I already had a full-time business with my home-based daycare. I already had 4 children, and I had my blog. But this digital marketing business came because I found a lot of people who were small business owners wanted and needed a little support. They wanted to tap into their voice and communicate and build communities of their own for their businesses. And so that's sort of what I've been doing. And I feel like it all has kind of evolved in a very natural, authentic way, which is why my business is called Connect Authentically. And so that's sort of where I am right now. Balance is something that I struggle with, like everyone else, but I feel like the more I do, the closer I get, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just wanted to acknowledge, some of your choices with, with raising your child, with raising your first son, and then talking about, opening a daycare. I hear a lot of moms who go back to work, and unfortunately they have a lot of, like, I have to, like, they just feel like they need to be dragged into whatever it is they're doing. But you really, regardless if you needed to financially or not, you really decided on what was most important to you, what you valued, and then it was, okay, how do I create a life? How do I create something that I'm passionate about that honors that, which I think is huge and says a lot, not only about you, but probably about, your happiness and your contentment with kind of the life as it unfolds.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like with every stage in my life, I have to always go back to, well, why am I doing this? And what is it that's going to make me happy and my family happy? And so I think whenever I make a decision, I do that. And one thing I'm learning is that just because you make a specific decision doesn't mean that that's the only decision you can make. I think that you can back off from it and be like, okay, wait, this isn't quite working exactly the way I want, but so let's pivot a little bit and let's try it a little bit in a different way. And, maybe I don't want to um, work so hard on growing this business, or maybe I don't want to write as many posts this week or this month. Whatever it is, you have to be able and willing to be flexible enough to let go of some things and then move forward with others. And I think that's always kind of just listening to that internal measure you have. I think that's always been very helpful.
Yeah, spot on with that too. And I love how you mentioned the pivot, because I think so many of us invest in something, or we get so involved into something and we don't want to let go. We want it to work out kind of according to plan, or according to how we think it should be happening. But like you had said, you put it beautifully in, taking that pivot to help us, okay, maybe I don't need to throw in the towel, or maybe I need to, pivot things a little bit to see how it's going to work here, creating that balance for you. So you mentioned something about, listening to your internal voice. So whether you call that your intuition, your core, whatever it is, but really getting really connected with that and helping that guide you in making your decisions, and really, knowing whether that's the right or the wrong decision for you at that point. So tell me a little bit, how did you come about, or how do you come about, not only listening, but hearing that, and also, learning to trust that?
That's a good question. Honestly, and I don't know if it's come with age or what, but I always feel like I've been fairly intuitive, and more intuitive with others. And it's only recently, in the last couple of years, where I feel like I'm starting to trust what I'm feeling about myself. I think that sometimes you have thoughts, ideas, dreams in your mind that you are afraid, and you're not able or willing to really consider them an actual possibility, and that holds you back. And I think once you get past that and you're like, no, if I'm thinking about it, if I'm focusing on it, if something that feels right, why wouldn't you at least try? And so I think that I'm definitely growing as a person, and the more people I meet and the more people I connect with, the more I grow, and the more I feel like, okay, yeah, this is right. I look for signs. I look for measures of what it is that is going to take me to that next step. And sometimes just standing still is the right step. And that's something I'm always learning too, because I feel like I'm always thinking like, well, what's next? Okay, well, that's not growing fast enough. Well, how do I do this? And then I take a deep breath and I'm like, wait, you're fine. You're doing great. Like, just chill out. That's
Right.
also important.
Yeah. And I hear some people, have even termed, they're like, it's okay to be just okay, just right there, versus you don't have to be super high or super low or take, fast movement, or kind of have that drastic growth or whatever that is at that point. At that point, it's really like, it's okay to just be okay that day, or in that moment. So, kind of going back to everything that's on your plate, and, really hearing your story and hearing how things kind of unfold, and it seems like things are really flowing for you. Tell me a little bit about how you find the time for yourself. So I know, some business owners, their time for themselves is working on their business, but really I kind of want to go along the lines of self-care. So how do you, nurture yourself, find time for yourself when you've got so many other things going on?
That's always a struggle. I think that I have a tendency to put everybody else in front and before myself. And, you get to a point where you're like, wait, you're tired, listen to that, let yourself sleep. You don't have to do the dishes right this minute, that kind of thing. So for me, it's always been about prioritizing and just letting some things go. Like, okay, well, the laundry is just going to sit another day, and even though I don't want to really look at that, I really need to take that, extra long shower at night after the kids are in bed, or I'm going to go and I'm going to get my nails done, and for me, honestly, recharging is just about vegging out and sleeping as much as possible. I don't need to go to the spa. I don't need a massage. I just need a little alone time to decompress, and then I feel good.
Excellent. So let's say I've had so many moms, they're like, I just want to be okay with the pile of dishes in the sink, or I just want to be okay with the laundry not getting done tonight. And it's like they constantly have this, nag internally saying, you better get that done, or you're not getting this stuff done, and all this kind of the horrible self-talk to themselves. So, you mentioned that, like, you just kind of have to be okay with it sometimes. How do you manage that? How do you keep that voice quiet?
I just try and think, well, if I have to choose, and I read an article actually recently, I think it was in the Washington Post, and it was from a dad's perspective about his wife, and he was saying how what the job of keeping the house clean is part of a woman's job, part of the mother's job, and that's what he used to think, and then he realized, like, no, their job is to raise their children, and our job as parents is to raise our children and focus on our children and teach them how to ride the bike and spend some extra time and take them for ice cream and all those extras that they're going to remember, and they're not going to remember whether the laundry was in the corner or not. And I'm hoping that's true because, definitely I do have a lot on my plate and I am doing a lot, and for me, I feel like if I'm going to neglect something, I'd rather it be something like that than the neglect being with my husband or my children. So, for me, if you have to pick, that to me is less guilt-filled.
Right. And I've never heard it put that way, but really asking yourself, what do I choose to neglect? Like if I feel like I'm not going to get anything done except for one thing, what is that thing? Am I going to feel better about getting that laundry done or getting the dishes done or whatever that case may be, or like finishing those emails or whatever it is? Or am I going to feel better that I spent, 10 minutes extra quality time with my children or my husband? So that's a great, kind of gauge there to ask yourself something as simple as that. So if you, going back, and it sounds, hearing your story, I feel like things have really just, the way you described it, they seem like they really have flowed and unfolded. So if you could go back and kind of tell, your new mom self something, or just kind of be like, hey, and give you a piece of advice that would make things easier for you now and easier in the process, what would you want to tell kind of your old mom self?
Basically, I would say just everything will work out and trust yourself. And you know what? And it goes so fast. Everything goes so fast. And you just, before you know it, your oldest is 15 and about to get his learner's permit, and is wanting to spend a lot more time away from the home with his friends. I mean, and your time is precious, and now I feel like I'm counting down. I'm like, oh gosh, my worries are no longer, are they going to get potty trained? Are they going to sleep through the night? Any of that. It's like, oh gosh, I only have 3 years, and then they're off to college, and then the dynamics are totally going to change. And what's that relationship going to be like? What's it going to be like to mother a child who's not living at home anymore? And so I think having that perspective, having my oldest be at that stage, and then my youngest be 3 years old, and finally out of diapers, and really wanting her own way, and all of that, I think I'm enjoying it more just because I know how fast it goes. And so I would tell my young mom self, like, enjoy it, treasure it because it goes fast, and trust yourself.
That's beautiful. And it sounds, basically, getting present, showing up and getting present and staying there, and trusting yourself, trusting that voice inside. So you mentioned, sometimes you struggle and you kind of come, taking care of yourself or kind of listening to that voice there. So a lot of people who are listening to these interviews, and they might have the perception of, okay, well, they've got it all together. I get that. But at this point, like, I am exhausted, or, I am overwhelmed, and I just need some advice, and blah, blah, blah. And so they feel like they are just so far away from a lot of the people that I interview. And so for me, what I like to do on these is to kind of give you like an open forum here where you can, if you could talk to, who I really talk to the most, the overwhelmed, overworked mothers of the world who are just at the end of the rope and they're ready to throw it in, you know, what would you want to say to them?
Okay, so yeah, here we go. I mean, honestly, no one has it together. Like, that is a lie. That's a lie that the media sells you. Everyone is going to have a bad day. You're going to have a bad day. And the reason you're going to have a bad day in parenting is because your child is imperfect just like you are. They're humans. And I see this all the time. I see that, you have this vision when you become a parent that, your child is going to be the best whatever. Your child is going to be perfect because they're your baby, and they're perfect when they come out, and they're innocent, and the truth is, what you realize is that they're flawed because you're flawed, and that's okay, and that you just have to accept the flaws, and you're going to love them no matter what, and you have to accept the fact that you're flawed and that you're not going to always know what to do, and that's okay, and basically you're going to get through it, and it's going to go fast. So just enjoy what you can, and there is some grinning and bearing it other times, and I think everyone feels that way. Right now, I'm doing this interview, and my husband, I had him take the kids to his mom's house because, with my family, they would just be running all over the place, which is great. It's real, but if I want to have a conversation like this, I asked him, and that's the thing. I asked for help. I asked for help, and it took a while to learn that, and that's something that I definitely would recommend. Your partner should be your partner. They're not just like an occasional babysitter or backup or relief pitcher, if you're using a sports analogy. Like, they should be your partner and really help you, and I feel like my husband does that for me and with me, and we're parenting together. And if you don't have a partner, because I was a single mom for a while in the beginning, having a network, a community, family members, close friends, and just really asking for help, because no one can do it alone. No one can do it alone. And so I think that those are my pieces of advice. Ask for help, prioritize, understand you're flawed, let things go once in a while, and just try and enjoy it. So that's it.
That was perfect. It was perfect. And I love, like, towards the end, like, I have a million questions here that I could ask that are all about balance and everything, but I really like these to be natural and just kind of the conversation, because, like you said, you're a real mom. It's the media's portrayal of what perfect is that we're, measuring our happiness against, these magazines pretty much, or reality television that's just not real. And, the more interviews I do hear, the more at the end, every single mom is sitting down saying, I'm a real mom, like, things get hard and it's okay, but I keep going. And they say, ask for help. Like you said, get to the point where you swallow your pride and you say, I need help. It's the old saying, it takes a village. But really just saying how real it is, and life happens. But the, learning different ways to cope and to strategize on how to balance it all and to, find what works for you, I think is really important. And I think you've done such a beautiful job, sharing kind of a little bit of your story with us too, but really, I think the biggest thing that takeaway that I got out of you that's really inspirational is, how you can trust your intuition, how you can really hone into, what's important to you, what matters, and, trusting that little voice inside and being really confident with that. So I think that's amazing, and I'm so happy that, you shared that with us tonight.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Katie. Yeah, I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Absolutely, and it's my pleasure. I love doing these things. I know it's part of my job or my business, but it's, personally, I love sitting down with moms, talking about motherhood, talking about balance. It's amazing. And to be able to share their stories with everyone who watches this, sitting down tonight, sharing it with anyone. Again, the purpose of this series, like the mission of this series, is to prove that balance is possible, not just in my life, not just in your life and the women that I'm interviewing, but it's possible for everyone sitting at home watching this at any time. And it's also to shine a light that balance shows up different for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my formula is not going to be the same as these women that I interview. And the passion here behind this series is to try to shine the light on the many ways, not just my way, you know, not just your way, the many ways that women can achieve a sense of balance, and to really give them a hope that it is possible. So Nicole, did you have anything else that you wanted to add before we wrapped up tonight?
Yeah, actually, I'll just add one more thing that I love that you're doing this series, and I know that when I first read the description and it was saying achieving balance, in my mind the first thing I said is, oh, I'm not balanced. I thought that was like, oh, what is she talking about? I'm not balanced. I have so much of it. But then, like you just said, I mean, balance looks different for everything. It doesn't mean that you're actually doing everything equally at the same time. And so I think that's important. Like, yeah, I'll say, okay, yeah, I'm achieving balance by understanding that there is no actual, equal division of responsibilities and time, and that's okay, because some weeks I'm going to focus more on just my kids and my daycare and everything that's on the side. Other weeks I'm going to focus on a little bit more on my blog. Another week I'll get some new clients and I'll focus on them as well. And it'll all work out. So that's my idea of balance.
I love that too. And I always say, I was like, balance is not, equally distributing your time or equally distributing your energy. Like, that is not motherhood, like, just wouldn't exist if we were doing that. It's really just having that sense of flow and getting what works for you, and, balancing. It's really like that levels of satisfaction with kind of what you're doing and, giving and taking. It's the key there, absolutely. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's an important topic, so I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, and I'm glad that you are a part of it, and I'm excited to, not only for the people who are here joining us tonight, but also, to share this across with everyone who's going to watch it from here out, to be inspired by you. I know I was definitely inspired, and I'm sure everyone watching will be as well. So, Nicole, I just wanted to say thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being a part of this series and being an inspiration to mothers all over the world. So thank you.
Thank you.